already there. Yes?
So all this breakdown converting proteins into amino acids, those happening inside the cell itself?
Yes, in various cells. So it's happening in the muscles, cells, it's happening in fat cells. Well, not the amino acids. Amino acids happening in muscle cells. Right? Does that make sense? See the difference? Is the conversion, without insulin, the conversion has to happen in the actual cells where you need the energy from, where you need the energy. So they're breaking down whatever they got available. Okay? And the same kind of thing happens with fat cells. Is, again, there's a readily source of energy inside fat cells to break that fat down to glycerol fatty acids, and then you can go ahead and combine and make glucose and have energy inside the cells. Okay? Yes?
In most cases, don't diabetics have a hard time losing weight?
Yeah. Diabetics type 2, that's a totally different story. We're not talking about this. Once you go into diabetic ketoacidosis, it actually will cause you to lose weight. You can't stay in this state for that long without having some serious consequences, okay, like convulsions and death, right? Because again, this is a ketoacidosis. This is actually a metabolic acidosis. So if you look back to what you wrote about metabolic acidosis, those signs and symptoms, what you could expect in something like diabetic ketoacidosis. So yeah, there are two different kinds of diabetes that we're usually talking about. The ones that tend to go in diabetic ketoacidosis are actually the ones that are type 1 diabetes, like a 12-year-old kid that gets that autoimmune disease and then they just don't make insulin in the first place. Okay? In which case, if you're not making insulin in the first place, you're not breaking anything down, even in the blood. You're just not, you don't have insulin, period.
So this is an onset, so you're not going to get it right away. It's if you have diabetes, then you get the metabolic acidosis, right? And that leads to diabetic ketoacidosis?
Yes.
Okay. So
If you have,
because you're not
again,
just
it's usually type 1 diabetes. If you have type 1 diabetes and you don't have insulin, then you can't put things in the cell, and that, you not only have acidosis, that's almost irrelevant. What you just can't do is you can't put energy into the cell. So the cells have to create their own energy internally.
the body just eats itself.
Yeah, so anyway, so that's what's happening at the cellular level, not really going through the bloodstream kind of thing.
So the weight loss would come from the fact that the cells have to break down fat and muscle to get energy.
Exactly, the weight loss comes from the cells breaking down fat and muscle so that they can have energy. Yes?
You said it primarily happens in diabetes type 1, but it also happens in type 2.
It technically could happen in type 2. It just doesn't tend to happen that often in type 2. Okay? So anyway, yeah, since you guys brought it up, there are many, many, many diets out there that actually use this mechanism. It's the ketogenic diet. Man, they've been around since, as far as I know, at least the 1950s. We've had ketogenic diets and stuff, and that is the mechanism that they're using. Keep in mind, by the way, that when they do that, and they do lose weight, about 25% of their weight loss is actually muscle mass.
So their creatine is going to be really high?
Huh?
So their creatine is going to be really high?
Oh yeah, their creatines are usually pretty high. Actually, any starvation diet, about 25% of it is muscle mass. As a general rule. Okay. So anyway,
Oh yeah. And she's like, oh no. It's like taxing on your liver.
we're making our own energy at the cellular level. That way, but you're also, notice that you're also making ketones, okay? Ketones are acid, okay? So that's where the acid part comes in, okay? Ketones are acid with beta-hydroxybutyrate and acetoacetic acid. Anyway, I think they're actually on the next slide. But they are acids, and that's what's causing that metabolic acidosis in the first place, okay? And then this is just showing that eventually you are going to, break down all that stuff, fats, proteins, all that sort of thing, and you are eventually going to get the glucose will make it back out into the blood, okay? Because there's nothing wrong with glycogen, right? You will kick stuff back out there, and then you end up having more glucose in your blood.
Can you also see it in the urine analysis, the ketones in?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions on that? So again, that's your basic diabetic ketoacidosis. Yes?
So, do ketones themselves provide energy?
Do they what?
Do ketones themselves provide energy, or is it only the glucose?
The making of the ketones? Yes. Actually, now that you say that, I'm pretty sure ketones themselves, you burn those.
Because it says what is being generated as an alternate energy source.
Uh-huh.
So, what would that be?
Yes, you do actually release energy by the process of ketolysis or ketolysis. So ketones, yes. Yes,
What happens to the liver?
what do you mean?
If it's constantly doing that, is it?
The liver is constantly doing all sorts of stuff. As a general rule, again, if you're diabetic ketoacidosis, you could die. Okay, so it's not like you want to stay in that state for a long time. Even these ketogenic diets don't put you in that severe of a state. Okay, because the reason they're putting you in the first place is because you're having very, very, very low carbohydrates. Okay, but it's almost impossible to have no carbohydrates. So they are putting you in a ketogenesis and therefore ketolysis. And even with that, I've yet to see one of those that doesn't say don't do a ketogenic diet for more than like 6 to 8 weeks max at a time. Because they know that if you continue that for a long time, yeah, it could damage some organs and such. Okay. Incidentally, I was doing this for the Health Science and Nursing Day last year, so I was doing a little research on it. Turns out that statistically speaking, we have what $30 billion diet industry in the U.S. and per year, and all diets pretty much straight across the board, more or less, are statistically insignificant in how much weight you lose. What matters is that you pick one and do it, and then you lose weight. That's the thing, right? All of them work about the same. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Or not.
And most of them have caffeine in them.
Yeah, a lot of them have that caffeine just because you're tired. Especially if you're cutting down on sugars, and if you're having a low carb, you are cutting down on sugars because that's what they are, is carbs are long strands of sugars, right? Which means you're going to get tired, so they put caffeine in them to try to supplement that. Questions? Any more? All right, there's your little chemistry if you care. Okay, just another quick look at your mud piles, right? Remember, when you care about the anion gap, it's because you have metabolic acidosis. It doesn't matter. The anion gap is really irrelevant if it even exists in any of those other conditions, like metabolic alkalosis or respiratory alkalosis. It doesn't matter. Only time you care about the anion gap is in metabolic acidosis. Okay? So, let's try this. How did I get 17 emails since the beginning of class? That is ridiculous.
2 are from me. I sent you 2.
16 of them you?
No, 2 of them are from me. I sent you the links for YouTube.
15 are me.
I believe that. All right. We're going to make our way.
Right. 2 semesters and you still never won your dick? No.
Who? Marissa? Which Marissa? Who's Marissa? What? It's you. M-A-R-E-S-A. How do you say that? See, Marissa. That's what happened. It's you. It's you. Marissa. Pick any patient you want. Answer 2 questions. 1. Do we need to do an anion gap calculation on that patient? And if so, what is it? Pick it out loud.
So I need to pick a patient first?
Pick one, yeah.
Okay.
Patient 1. Patient 1, do we need to do an anion gap calculation? And if so, what is it? What? I can hear you. What? Why not?
Because if the pH is basic, therefore it doesn't have anything to do with metabolic acidosis.
Moving on. Right?
I'm so mad. I don't want to do it anymore. Okay.
Circuits pick a lot.
At least like once every
You know, I noticed that over the years. That there's some psychology that comes with placement, right? Which is why people pay a lot of money to place their products on shelves in supermarkets. If you guys tend to pick the same people over and over every semester, it's so weird. Alexis. Alexis Fisher. This girl.
She's not here.
Oh, Alexis Fisher.
She hasn't been here for a while.
Put her on the naughty list.
She really hasn't been here for a while.
Yeah, is she in this
Amanda,
class
I know
anymore?
she's here.
I would think so.
Impressive.
Oh, did she switch majors?
Amanda, pick a patient.
I'm just gonna go with patient 2.
Amanda's going with patient 2. Do we have to do
Maybe she
a
switched majors.
anion gap calculation? And if so, what is it?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
She says yes.
Because the pH is acidic, and so is the bicarbonate. So you have
Acid. Acid.
So with the bicarbonate, it would refer to metabolic acidosis.
Yeast. Okay, so what's our anion gap then?
Yeah, she's not on the class list.
18.
Any plus minus is Cl plus HCO3.
And like we basically just add those two.
So the MA was 1 billion. And then you add, oh, I added the wrong thing.
Does anybody have a question on how Amanda got that so fast? Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out. Yep, Alec got picked.
Is it really?
It really is.
Dang, I don't believe it. I don't think that's me.
Alex,
Yes, sir.
pick a patient. Do we have to do one, yay or nay? And if
3,
so, how
yes.
much? What is it? What?
3.
Question number 3.
Yes, we have to.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Take away 20.
Why do we have to?
Because it's respiratory acidosis. No,
What? You wrote it down?
I did.
Yeah.
it's respiratory.
But it
So that's
says,
the whole reason we have to do one? Because it's acidic? Since this word is in effect metabolic acid?
No, so it's respiratory.
Alex,
It's respiratory.
who's causing the problem? Is it the metabolic or respiratory system?
Respiratory. So
respiratory.
there's no.
You guessing?
No? God help me.
Why is it respiratory causing acid?
The CO2.
Because the CO2 is
Hi.
up,
It's hot.
and CO2 is the same thing as acid. Okay.
Yeah.
So it has respiratory acidosis. Therefore, you don't have to do it underneath. Yes?
Yes.
Then. Questions on that? Emily! Henberg. That's a
This
different
is
one.
like the third time. No, it's not a different one. It's the same one.
You're not the one that gets picked all the time, is it?
No,
This is
it's
not
like-
Emily.
It's like the fourth time.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like some weird psychology. They
I've
always
only
pick
been
that
picked. I've only been
same
picked
few
once.
people.
Yeah, it's like.
Do we have to do one on patient 4, Emily?
No, because it's basic.
Nay, nay, because it's basically
Nay,
going
nay.
further. Right?
Nay, nay.
Yes.
How is that with basics if the CO2 level is
Because the pH
How's
is
that with basic? The pH
7.7.
is 7.7.
Yeah.
Don't even
Well, because
have to
higher
look at it.
pH means more basic. Basic.
7.35 to 7.45.
well, more CO2 would mean more
I
acidic.
don't really care what the CO2 is doing. Your pH is 7.7.
But if something is compensating for the CO2, then you'd be fine.
Yeah, well, I get that, but I mean, that's a stupid question because CO2 is literally 50.
Doesn't
I
matter.
know,
It
but
doesn't matter.
HCO3 is 34, so it's compensating
There
for the
might-
CO2.
Here's the thing, is there might have been a problem, but it fixed itself. Or, actually, what I mean is, it might have already overcompensated or undercompensated. The reason that CO2 is probably high is because it's trying to fix